Welcome to Retro Video Playback and to episode 16 of Tape Talk Tuesday, an episodic video series where I showcase and discuss various movies on VHS. If there's one movie that was released during the VHS life cycle that truly belongs on VHS, it's the Blair Witch Project.
Have you ever heard of the Blair Witch?
Today in 2025, there are endless examples on the internet, out there in the world, of attempts to pass something off that's fake as real. Especially with the rise of artificial intelligence, AI, it's becoming increasingly difficult to know what's real, what's manufactured, what's fiction. Specifically for movies, there are countless found footage films, tons of horror movies with VHS tie-ins or attempting to be stylistic, but nothing, in my opinion, has come close to recreating or outdoing what the Blair Witch Project did. In the late 1990s, it was truly a different world. The internet existed, of course, but it was still years away from becoming the modern internet that we know today. As a result, information didn't spread instantly the way it does today, and misinformation, as we typically call it today, could easily exist and gradually spread, being easily believed. As well, analog devices like camcorders were still everyday items. So, in 1997, a group of independent filmmakers decided to combine these factors and created the Blair Witch Project. Many of you are likely aware of this, but for those of you who may not be, the Blair Witch Project had one of the single most successful marketing campaigns for a movie ever. The movie was advertised as being real. And I know nowadays it feels like most movies are based on a true story or inspired by true events, but the Blair Witch Project did more than that. It was marketed as real footage of real people and real events, and it was believable. I'm sure that some people don't agree, but for the most part, most would agree that when you watch the Blair Witch Project, it feels real. It feels legitimate. A group of friends go into a forest with a camera, that's key, get lost, and strange and scary things start to happen. The camera being key is what makes this movie so perfect for VHS. In 1999, 2000, you could feasibly tell your friends or family that you got this tape of something crazy that happened to these people, pop it into the VCR, and play it for them, and it would pass as being true and believable. I was a kid when the Blair Witch Project was released, but I do remember hearing about it in the years that followed, and I specifically remember that the belief of the movie being real really did perpetuate and linger. It was some time before it was widely known and accepted that it was fiction. As for actually seeing the movie for the first time, oddly enough, I didn't see it until my mid-20s, I want to say. Though by that point, I'd seen the movie endlessly referenced and parodied throughout pop culture, as well as seen various clips from the movie over the years. So needless to say, I had a pretty good understanding of the movie by the time I actually watched it. That didn't, however, make the movie itself much less creepy. Let's take a closer look at the Blair Witch Project on VHS. The bottom half of the cover is a dark and ominous shot from the movie, potentially the most famous shot from the movie, where one of the characters is facing the video camera up at themselves, recording a message. At the top is a shot of creepy trees in front of a gray and white sky, with an appropriate review quote from Peter Travers of Rolling Stone in red letters, "Scary as hell." Between the two images it reads, "In October of 1994, 3 student filmmakers disappeared in the woods near Burkittsville, Maryland while shooting a documentary. A year later, their footage was found." So still perpetuating this story nearly a year after the movie's release to make audiences believe it's all very real. This is followed by a creepy symbol, which if you've seen the movie, you know what it is, and if you haven't seen the movie, it's a bit of foreshadow for you. At the bottom of the cover is the movie title, The Blair Witch Project, in surprisingly small and subtle white font, though as unassuming as it is, it feels appropriate and it suits the cover well. I'm of the opinion that the cover would seem cooler and darker without the "scary as hell" quote. It takes a bit away from the authenticity and believability that the movie is real, as I talked about earlier. But I understand that it's just a necessary part of the marketing and the selling of the movie. The top and sides have the same Blair Witch Project font as the front cover, only in red instead of white. The top has the same creepy symbol as the front, while the spines have pictures of characters from the movie, one on each spine. The back of the box is as equally eerie as the front. With a lot of spooky red, we've got an image from the forest with another creepy shape like the one we've seen elsewhere. Above the photo is another brief quote, this time from John Anderson of Newsday, that reads, "Genuinely frightening," which I would agree with. The tape is the standard late 90s design with the information inked on in basic fonts. If released as a movie today, I could see it being designed in a way to seem worn and marked up like real found footage might appear. All in all, this tape is designed well and in a way to tell you what kind of movie you're getting. And if I had to use one word to describe it, I'd use a word I've already said more than once: creepy. Though I'm mostly positive on this overall design, I would be lying if I said I'm not a bit disappointed. With the marketing that went into this movie, it's a real missed opportunity to not have designed this VHS sleeve as a more real and authentic found footage tape. However, I wouldn't be surprised if the filmmakers pushed for something like that, but were overruled by the movie studios involved, requiring it to contain the necessary plot summary, production credits, copyright information, and so on. With that, we find ourselves at the end of our discussion of the Blair Witch Project on VHS and the end of episode 16 of Tape Talk Tuesday. What do you remember about the Blair Witch Project, the push for audiences to believe that it was real, and the genuine creepiness associated with the movie? Thanks for watching Retro Video Playback.